Once upon a time, it's love full speed ahead when dashing sailor Bill Edmondson meets single mom Rose Manthe.
They really loved each other. They were the perfect couple.
She fully expected that she would find love, and she did with Bill.
But their loving union is about to be torn apart.
It was very personal. It was very violent.
This was something grotesque, something that no one would even imagine.
For this couple, the honeymoon is over.
Do you, William, take Rosalina to be your lawfully wedded wife until death do you part?
I do.
Yeoman second-class Bill Edmondson is nervous as he stands hand in hand with his gorgeous 26-year-old bride, Rosalina Manthe.
And do you, Rosalina, take...
Their whirlwind 6-month courtship began in Bremerton, Washington, with a chance encounter on the Navy base, and now arrives at the altar.
He was excited to get married. He really wanted to find love or find somebody.
I now pronounce you Mr. and Mrs. Edmondson. You may kiss the bride.
The sweet young sailor is everything Rose has ever wanted.
Here is a loving and stable, dashing, handsome military man. He wants to provide for her and give her the things that she needs.
And he wants nothing more than to spend the rest of his life with Rose, her young daughter, whom he adores, and the baby they've just found out is on the way.
Bill wanted a wife, wanted a child, wanted something he didn't have when he was growing up, and saw Rosalina and her daughter filling in a picture for him.
Rose and Bill were both searching for something they never had before, a kind of stability, a kind of love. So when their love blossomed, this was it finally, something stable, something honest, something loving.
Neither had an ideal childhood, but now they'll have the loving family they've always longed for.
It was a chance for both of them to start their lives together. It was really every bride's dream.
But that dream soon gives way to a nightmare. That December, Bill fails to show for duty at the submarine base where he's stationed. This isn't like him at all.
Bill was pretty responsible. If he wasn't going to show up, he would have called, which would given you a reason why he wasn't there.
When the couple's housemate gets home, he finds 2 NCIS officers waiting for him.
Hey, officers, what's going on? What's your name? Mike Cogswell.
And they asked me a bunch of questions. I told them Rose and Bill went out that night. I really have no idea where they went. Neither one came back that night.
Think of anything else might help us out?
Did they take off out of the blue, knowing Bill could be declared AWOL? It's hard to believe the couple would just vanish, especially since their lives are finally coming together. Bill Edmondson is born in Pennsylvania in 1958. He never knows his father and doesn't meet his mother until the age of 5.
By the time a child is 5 years old, his personality would have been fairly fully developed. His attachment styles would have been in place. So for him to meet her would be like meeting a stranger. So I'm sure it was very awkward for both of them.
Bill grows up a loner, yearning to fit in. After high school, he finds just the place, the Navy.
Maybe this was a safe place for him. He could go somewhere and everybody would be the same. It would be uniform. He wouldn't be different than anybody else.
He thrives in his new surroundings.
Bill enjoyed being in the Navy. You're getting to meet new people. You're going places you've never been before. And he liked what he was doing.
But there's one thing still missing: the stable family life he's always craved.
He wanted to have the family he'd always dreamed of, the family that he didn't have growing up.
Come on, man. We just got home. Let's go get a beer real quick. You want to?
Rosalina Manthe has her own unfortunate childhood. Born into poverty in the Philippines, she's just a baby when tragedy strikes. And both of her parents die in a car crash. Now an orphan, Rose is sent to a convent school.
I don't think a lot of us can imagine what it's like to lose your parents when you're a little kid and then not be taken to another family's house. She didn't grow up with her grandparents. She was taken to this convent.
As a young woman, she has several relationships with American sailors, but they never stick around.
By the time she's in her late teens, she already has a couple of kids and she's still a single mom. She obviously was a very lost woman who was very desperate for someone to love her.
Finally, she meets a sailor who wants to bring her to the U.S. to be his wife. But there's one catch. Rose will have to leave her children behind.
Rose's story reflects the story of so many immigrant women to America. They come from poverty. They have children to feed. They have to make terrible choices.
The sailor was offering her a beautiful life. He was in love with her. She's confident that this man is going to provide for her in the United States and eventually let her kids come and join them.
But when she arrives in Seattle, her dreams are shattered.
She went to him and he rejected her and said, "Get out of here."
I want you to try to imagine what it would be like to be a young girl from a foreign country, suddenly being kicked out on the street by the man you thought would be your dream man who would take care of you forever. This must have been absolutely tragic to Rose and terrifying.
As Rose tries to pull her life back together, she runs into a Marine she dated back in the Philippines named Richard Manthe. They marry and have a daughter. But Manthe is hardly the man Rose hoped he'd be.
What the hell do you think you're doing?
Richard Manthe loved to drink, and when he drank and got drunk, he tended to get violent. He assaulted Rose several times.
Get the laundry, get out of here!
After Manthe is arrested for burglary, Rose wastes no time divorcing him.
I would imagine she's very skeptical of men. She's had very bad luck. She can't trust anybody.
Rose turns to her girlfriends for comfort. During a night out, they head over to the enlisted club on the naval base. The same club where Bill Edmondson is enjoying a drink with friends.
I think he kind of like fell for, I guess something just sparked between them.
Bill can't believe such a beautiful woman is single.
My name's Bill, by the way.
Rosalina.
She seems so perfect.
Rose was a very outgoing personality. She had a lot of self-confidence.
You have a beautiful smile. Would you like to dance?
Okay,
All right.
sure.
They had drinks, danced, had a good time. It was a fun night. They seemed to get along quite well.
Bill is kind and sweet. He seems a far cry from the other sailors in Rose's past.
When Bill and Rose met, conversation seemed to flow as easily as the drinks. This was a night where they realized, she certainly realized anyway, that love was still possible.
It's the beginning of a wonderful relationship. But now the happy couple is nowhere to be found. The day after they disappear, Rose suddenly returns home. She tells investigators she's been at work all day. But Bill is still missing. She explains the night before they'd gone to a bar.
Me and Bill went out, had a few drinks.
She says Bill went to talk to a guy she didn't recognize.
According to Rose, Bill made eye contact with a sort of hippie-looking bearded guy. Bill wanted the car keys to leave with this guy, and Rose wouldn't give him the keys because she said he was too drunk to drive.
I'll be right back. I'm just going around the corner.
No, I'm not giving you the keys.
Give me the keys. All right,
No.
whatever.
No.
Whatever.
He left with the bearded guy. That was the last time she saw him.
To be your lawfully wedded wife, until death do you part.
I do.
Just 4 months after getting married, Bill Edmondson has vanished. He was last seen leaving a bar with a strange man. Who was this man? And what's his relationship with Bill? The only clear thing is that Bill never came home that night.
When NCIS went out to the house, they didn't find anything unusual. There was no evidence of any crime taking place. There wasn't any evidence of Bill taking clothes, leaving the area.
With no physical evidence, there isn't much police can do. It's entirely possible Bill just left or is out sleeping off a late night.
Please find him.
Still, his wife Rose is beside herself with worry. She loves her husband dearly, and they're about to have their first child together.
She's worried it's the first time that Bill has left and not come home after they've had an argument.
I'm sure that Rose was terrified. Just when she thought she had it all together and her life was together, yet another horrific tragedy, a missing husband.
It's the sort of pain Rose thought she left behind. Less than a year earlier, she and Bill are just beginning their love affair.
Bill thought Rose was very outgoing, fun to be with. They seem to have a lot in common.
They've spent a lot of time together. They were close physically and were developing a romantic relationship.
Once she's sure Bill is more than just a fling, Rose introduces him to her young daughter.
Lots more pepperoni. See, let's go. Here we go.
Bill loves kids. He's only 23 years old, but he's very drawn to women with children because he would love to start a family.
That was part of his attraction to Rose, this kind of ready-made daughter who charmed him.
I'm sure he held this dream that he was going to have this perfect family. His own childhood had been terrible.
He was falling for her. Bill was pretty happy. They both seem happy. And I'm going, go for it, you know.
When he feels comfortable, Bill tells Rose all about his dark childhood.
Bill's mother already had 5 children, and she had this abusive husband. She was pregnant with Bill at the time, and it seemed like she just really couldn't take it anymore.
Bill tells Rose one night his mother slipped into the bedroom while his father slept. Then calmly called police and confessed her crime. She's convicted of second-degree murder and sentenced to 10 years in prison. She gave birth to Bill while in custody.
My heart goes out to babies born in prison. They lose the special bonding experience that infants need with a primary caregiver, specifically a mother. So there was really no secure attachment to make for him. It's very, very tragic. Babies learn to love by how they are treated in the early weeks, months, and years of their life.
Bill's mother serves 5 years of her sentence. After her release, she only regains custody of Bill.
He never knows his 5 brothers and sisters. He's completely alienated from his family.
Rose understands the pain of a difficult childhood. Together, they promise to build a happier future. And it arrives faster than they expected.
I have a surprise for you.
What? For me?
Open it.
Keep me on board.
Surprise! I'm pregnant!
He was happy to hear that she was pregnant, that he was the father of this child.
This is the best thing that has ever happened to him. All he's wanted is a family. He wants to be a loving father. And so now finally he's gonna have a family of his own.
I think giving birth to the next generation is probably the big moment where you've realized the circle of life is complete. Having a baby can bring a couple closer. It can bring them so much happiness.
Without hesitating, Bill pops the question.
And I want you to be my wife. Will you marry me?
Yes!
Really?
Yes!
They are so in love that she says yes. They're getting married. They were both just beside themselves with excitement.
But now that excitement has turned into fear. A week passes with no word from Bill.
I called the hospitals, motels, but we just couldn't find anybody that knew where he was. No one knew anything.
What could have happened to him? Did the man he left the bar with kidnap him? Or did he simply decide to skip town, leaving his responsibilities, including a pregnant wife, behind?
So as the days go by and Bill doesn't come home, Rose starts to get really worried. This is not normal Bill behavior. And she starts to think that maybe he won't come back.
On the 8th day, a hiker on a remote tree farm several miles from the Edmondson home makes a shocking discovery. He immediately contacts the sheriff's office.
A hiker came by earlier through the same ridge and found the body, and then they walked out that way.
Well, when I came up to the body, it was a white male. He was bare-chested. His pants were pulled down where it exposed his buttocks. It was freezing. There was no way he had been out there without a shirt. The body was positioned like it was possibly been involved in some sort of sexual situation.
Detectives notice small bullet holes in the side of the man's head. He's also been savagely beaten.
His nose appeared to be smashed. His face was bruised and bloody.
There's even a large boot print on the man's chest.
We found several footprints in the earth near the body, and they all looked like they were from a Western cowboy type of boot. The boot print on the chest looked like a cowboy boot also, and it was a mighty blow. It was overkill. That was an out-and-out assassination.
Detectives searched the man's pockets for identification.
I was able to find a wallet in his back pocket. It had a military ID identifying Bill Edmondson.
Now police must deliver the devastating news to Rose. It doesn't seem fair that so much tragedy can happen to one woman, especially when her life finally seems on track.
She became very emotional. She broke down and cried. I tried to comfort her.
She is pregnant, she has a small child, and she's all alone.
Rose's life was one filled with one tragedy after another. I'm sure her spirit was completely deflated at this point.
But just as officers begin to leave, Rose delivers a bombshell.
Wait! I think I know who killed my husband.
23-year-old newlywed Bill Edmondson is found savagely murdered on a remote farm in Kitsap County, Washington.
This was a very brutal killing.
Police are trying to find the man his wife last saw him with.
There wasn't any any sightings. Nobody called in and saying they might have saw him.
Now Rose turns the case on its ear.
I think I know who killed my husband.
Okay.
She's been keeping a secret. One she feels is so embarrassing, she couldn't bear to reveal it earlier.
Rose told me that she felt that her husband was a homosexual, that his lover was the person, Mike, that was living at the house.
It wouldn't surprise me to hear that Rose had hidden the secret of homosexual behavior. This was the early 80s. It was still a time where there was so much stigma attached to it.
She says Bill's affair with his housemate, Mike Cogswell, put a huge strain on their marriage. She begged him to end it.
Mike may have been jealous. There certainly could have been a motive for the murder.
After all, the scene looks like a crime of passion.
The shirt was gone, the pants were pulled down with the way the body was positioned.
Detectives know the killer was wearing cowboy boots to crush Bill's chest. Mike also owns a pair of cowboy boots, which Rose delivers to police.
Cowboy boots are not that common here in Puget Sound area. It certainly would cause us to look at him much closer.
Detectives need to bring him in for questioning. Rose's world is turned upside down. It's hard to imagine that just 4 months earlier, she was planning to become Mrs. Bill Edmondson.
Aw, really?
Yeah, we should get it.
But I already had a big wedding once.
All right, well, maybe if you want to do something smaller, and maybe sooner, we could go down to the courthouse in a couple of days and tie the knot there.
Really?
Let's go.
Rose has already been married before, so she would rather just do something small, get married, just start her life with Bill and not have a big fanfare.
Do you, William, take Rosalina to be your lawfully wedded wife?
With 2 friends in tow, they head to the courthouse.
Some people hold weddings because they're trying to make a statement. They're trying to say to all these people in the room, you see, we really do love each other. It's real, right? But Bill and Rose wanted something small, quaint, and private. They didn't want a lot of people talking about their relationship because this was about them and their love.
Rose leaves her daughter with a friend so the newlyweds can take a short honeymoon. They drive to Montana and bask in the natural beauty of the Big Sky country.
Hey. Isn't it beautiful?
Yes.
They just wanted to have a low-key honeymoon where they could just be together, maybe stay in a cabin somewhere, just have it be quiet and romantic.
After a weekend in the outdoors and under the covers, they return to Bremerton refreshed. Their entire lives in front of them. The first big decision is where to live. Rose already owns a home in Port Orchard, but it might not be the right fit for their new family.
Rose told Bill that she would like a new start and that she would like a new home, put some of the bad memories behind her.
The idea of having a home together and sharing it was so important to create this kind of structure and security that they dreamed about.
They opt for a home in a quiet residential neighborhood. It's a stretch for their modest pocketbook. So they rent a room to Bill's friend Mike to help cover the mortgage.
It was a beautiful home. It was quite spacious, practically brand new, and very nice, very comfortable for a family.
The couple's dreams are finally coming true. But the memory of those happy times has quickly faded. The autopsy reveals a story of immense suffering.
The coroner said that when he first saw the body, he assumed it had been hit by a truck.
Bill's nose was smashed, his chest was caved in, his ribs were broken. He had 4 gunshot wounds to the side of the head.
It's a horrible death. Investigators are determined to bring the cold-hearted killer to justice. They track down the couple's housemate, Mike. and confront him with Rose's accusations.
The investigators asked if Bill or I were homosexuals or that we ever slept together, and I said no. There's no truth in that whatsoever. I was pretty upset about it. You can automatically get kicked out of the military back then for that. And I said, well, this ain't true at all.
He flatly denies having anything to do with Bill's death.
Did you see Bill the night he died? Yeah, I saw him. We had a few drinks at the house.
They were hanging out the day Bill disappeared. But Mike claims he didn't see him again after that.
San Francisco all the way.
Hey, boys.
Rose came over, and they both seemed real happy. And then they left. No one came home to that house that night. And I left the next morning to go to work.
Detectives know there's only one way to know if Mike is telling the truth. If the soles of his cowboy boots match the wounds left on Bill's body, they have their killer. Mike Cogswell denies Rose Edmondson's claims he killed her husband Bill out of jealousy. Now the only thing standing between him and a murder charge are a pair of cowboy boots.
Those boots were examined against the wound on the victim's chest and found to be much smaller size. They could not have produced that injury on the chest.
We eliminated Mike Cogswell as a suspect in the murder of Bill Edmondson.
Detectives don't believe there was ever an affair. Why would Rose lie?
I told him that I thought Rose was the one that murdered him. I think she's just trying to pin this on me.
Detectives know Rose couldn't be their killer.
When they found Bill's body, there were huge footprints on his chest, a big boot. He was brutally beaten, and there was no way that this small woman could have crushed his chest.
We felt that somebody other than Rose was involved in the murder.
But she'd made up such a scandalous lie about Bill being gay. They decide to take a deeper look into Bill and Rose's relationship. Friends tell police their perfect little honeymoon wasn't quite so perfect. Their hotel room just happens to be a stone's throw from the prison where Rose's ex-husband, Richard Manthe, is doing time.
On the first day of their marriage together, Bill Edmondson woke up and found Rosalina gone.
Rose.
He finds out she'd gone to pay Manthe a visit.
Contrary to popular belief, most people don't visit their ex-husbands in prison while they're on their honeymoon, so it's very unusual. She ends up telling Bill that she visited her ex in prison, which of course he was super angry about. I mean, what kind of excuse could you ever make up for why you are visiting your ex-husband in prison while you're on your honeymoon in Montana?
The damage is already done.
The kind of woman who visits an ex-husband in jail while she's on honeymoon with a new husband is the kind of woman who manipulates men.
And their new house? It's furnished with nothing but the best.
Rose liked nice things and expensive things.
I got something for you.
What is it?
Well, 1, 2, 3. Surprise!
Top of the line every time.
How did you pay for all of this?
Of course, with your credit card.
My credit cards?
There was a huge fight between Bill and Rose, and Bill saying, "We can't afford this."
Why would you use my credit cards? How are we gonna pay this off?
The newlyweds are racking up huge piles of debt. And Bill has trouble convincing Rose to cut back.
If you can't afford it, it's not my problem. It's not my problem.
For many couples, when conflict starts over money, it can be the beginning of a big unraveling. It starts with petty arguments about, why did you put that on this credit card? Why did you think we needed to buy that? But before you know it, their entire bond and their love starts to disintegrate.
Hey, sweetheart.
As the tension increases, Rose spends more time at her other house and away from Bill.
Well, you'd better split that with her tonight, because I'm going out.
What? I thought we were gonna have a family dinner. I mean, I already
And
bought
don't
the
bother
food.
waiting for me, because I'm staying at my place.
She would be gone for periods of time without an explanation. She'd come back smelling of alcohol. So he was getting more and more upset, more and more impatient with her.
For Bill, suspicion was already brewing. A week after their wedding, he's rushed to the ER. He's somehow ingested an over-the-counter pain medicine to which he's extremely allergic. He's certain it wasn't an accident.
Rose and I went to visit Bill when he was in the hospital. The minute we walked into the room, Bill started hollering, and he said, "You tried to poison me. You tried to kill me."
I didn't do anything. I love what
Rose denies the accusation.
She's crying, and, you know, I love you so much. I would never do anything to hurt you.
Rose tries to persuade Bill that he somehow got the medication while on board his ship.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to accuse you like that. I'm just scared.
The couple makes amends, but Bill remains on alert.
He starts keeping a diary and writing down all the things that she does that he thinks are odd or suspicious or hurtful or hateful.
What Bill didn't have in his head was a model of a healthy relationship. He didn't know what that was. So his diary was a way for him to sort of sort it out for himself. Almost a list of pros and cons. She's good, she's bad, she's good, she's bad. Do I stay, do I not? Should I stay, should I go?
Just like Bill, detectives have their eye on Rosalina, and finally they get a break in the case. Neighbors come forward with tales of strange happenings the morning after Bill vanished.
They saw Rose furiously cleaning the inside of the vehicle, which was very unusual.
Later that morning, they see black smoke rising from the Edmondson chimney. Wood burns white, not black.
And they thought that was all highly suspicious.
So what is Rose burning? Investigators decide to take another look at both of Rose Edmondson's houses. When they arrive at her Port Orchard home, the one she's owned since before she married Bill, they get quite the shock.
You got a name, sir?
Yeah, I'm Richard Manthe.
Richard Manthe, her ex-husband, answers the door.
He said he had just been released from prison and that Rose offered him a job cutting wood and that she would help him get back on his feet.
And on Manthe's feet, police notice boots. Not cowboy boots, but work boots, about the same size as the prints left on Bill's body.
They were the same size and width, but not the same type or pattern that was used to stomp on the victim's chest.
Manthe says he doesn't own cowboy boots. Still, he's shown up in town around the same time as Bill's murder.
All right. Thanks for your time, Mr. Manthe. We'll be in touch.
That just can't be a coincidence.
We felt that that was very suspicious and was certainly something we needed to look further into.
They now suspect Rose Edmondson and her ex killed poor Bill. But to prove it, they'll need a warrant to get inside that house. Police believe Rose Edmondson and her ex, Richard Manthe, may have killed her husband. With permission, they inspect Rose's car.
The inside lining of the passenger door had been freshly painted, as had some areas of the upholstery inside. I got to wondering, why paint the inside of a car unless maybe you're trying to hide something?
Lucky for investigators, the rushed paint job doesn't hide several drops of blood on the front passenger seat.
The crime lab was able to determine that the unknown blood from the car matched Bill Edmondson.
Bill and Rose's house is clean, So using the evidence from the car, police get a warrant for Rose's other home, the one where Richard Manthe is staying.
At the residence, there had been evidence of a fight. Window was broken. The door had been busted off the hinges.
I found blood spots on the floor. Directly above those blood spots was a large area that had been wiped down to clean blood off of it.
That blood also matches Bill Edmondson. Then detectives uncover the key piece of evidence.
One of the things we found was a pair of cowboy boots. We were able to identify them as belonging to Mr. Manthe.
Those cowboy boots were an exact match to the boot print on Bill Edmondson and out at the scene.
Detectives bring Rose Edmondson and Richard Manthe in for questioning. Manthe refuses to talk.
I want to talk to my lawyer.
Detective, you have to believe me. I didn't do anything.
But Rose is more than happy to plead her case.
She was alleging that Manthe killed Bill out of jealousy. She told detectives that he was the one who committed the murder and that she did nothing but help him clean up afterwards.
I was scared and I didn't know what to do.
Rose claims she feared for her life. But investigators aren't buying it.
Rose will turn on anybody. Rose will say anything to defend herself. She's always innocent. She's always the victim.
With no physical evidence against her, detectives release Rose and charge Richard Manthe with Bill's murder. But any doubt about Rose's guilt is erased when Manthe tells his cellmate about Bill Edmondson's death.
So you want to hear a crazy story?
Yeah, man, let me hear it.
Let me tell you how this happened.
Manthe says he and Rose began planning it right after Bill and Rose's wedding.
This murder plot began the first morning of her honeymoon when she visited Manthe in prison.
Rose wasn't even pregnant. She just told Bill that because she knew he would agree to marry her.
Rose needed to close that deal. She needed a legal marriage so that she could have access to his life insurance. So there's no better way to get a man like Bill to propose than to say you're pregnant. A man who had been torn from his own mother's womb in prison and given away. This was a guy who was not going to leave his baby.
Once Manthe got out of prison, they decided to murder Bill and pin the death on his housemate, Mike.
Pulled out my gun, shot him twice in the back of the head.
They were going to stage the murder to make it look like it was a homosexual situation between two men.
The motive? Bill's $150,000 life insurance policy.
Take his money and go live in some tropical paradise.
I don't think Rose ever loved Bill. I think the only thing she was interested in was the life insurance and the money and the house and anything else she could get out of him.
Investigators arrest Rose Edmondson and charge her with murder. Rose and Richard Manthe are granted separate trials. At each, prosecutors lay out the details of Manthe's jailhouse confession.
Bill and Rose left the house together, and Rose drove Bill over to the other house. She knew that once they got over to the other house and Richard was there would be a fight.
Sure enough, when Bill and Rose arrived at the house, Manthe attacked Bill.
He broke his nose, blood went everywhere, the door got shattered.
Richard, what have you done? He looks bad. You need to take him to the hospital. He looks bad.
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Manthe then pretended to apologize and offered to drive Bill to the hospital.
He said that they got Bill into the car. He said that he told Bill to roll down the window.
Just go ahead and turn that radio on. Man, I should hear some music before he dies.
Manthe and Rose then drove out to the tree farm to dump Bill's body.
He wanted to make sure that Bill was dead, so he shot him twice more. He turned him over, he stomped on his chest, and crushed his chest in with his boot.
Manthe then posed the body, and he and Rose left to start cleaning up.
It's done, baby.
Good job, baby.
Thanks.
Along with scrubbing out the car, Rose also burned Bill's clothing.
We sifted through the ashes from the wood stove and found metallic buttons and other things.
Rose's defense attorney claims Rose only helped out of fear for her own life. But it's just too much for the jury to believe.
Rose had a $150,000 life insurance policy on Bill. Rose killed Bill, Rose gets this money. I mean, it was just so clear that she's not a victim.
You would call Rose an absolute manipulator with a cold heart. People were objects in her environment to be used for her survival.
Both Richard Manthe and Rose Edmondson are convicted of aggravated first-degree murder and sentenced to life without the possibility of parole.
Rose was self-serving. I think it wasn't in her best interest. She wasn't interested in it.
Sadly, I don't think Rose loved Bill. And in fact, I don't think Rose loved anybody. What went wrong in Rose and Bill's marriage? The fact that they got married went wrong. The fact that she even targeted him the night they met. She was looking for another mark, and it was Bill. This relationship should never have happened.
Surprise! I'm pregnant!
Rose was scamming Bill from the very beginning. Rose told Bill that she was pregnant, and she wasn't. Rose told Bill that she loved him. She didn't. All she wanted was his money, and she had planned all along to kill him so that she could get it. It's the ultimate betrayal.
All Bill ever wanted was to feel like a whole person.
He just wanted to have what he never had, was a father and a family.